My child, pause for a moment and let your heart be still. In that quietness, you will sense a gentle yet unmistakable voice calling to you. That voice is mine. It is not the echo of your reasoning, nor the recycled words of the world around you. It is my invitation, the voice of the one who knows you more intimately than you know yourself. Before the first ray of light ever touched your life, I already understood every beat of your soul, every subtle movement of your spirit. I was there when no one knew of your existence. And now I come again not to accuse, but to awaken in you something that the world cannot reach. You may have walked through barren seasons, where your prayers seemed to echo into silence, where hope appeared to fade with the years. You may have looked upward and wondered, have I been forgotten? But my dear one, my silence is never a sign of abandonment. It is the space I create for you to learn to listen more deeply, to live not merely by what you see, but to walk by a sacred assurance. As the scriptures say, the righteous shall live by faith, Romans 1:17. That faith does not demand immediate proof. It perseveres in what I have spoken. Even when no visible change has yet come, you have often hoped that my presence would make all things instantly easier. But if everything you longed for came without delay, would faith be needed? If you never had to wait, would hope still hold meaning? I do not dispense blessings like an automatic machine. I am a father, and as a loving father, I shape you through patience. Every season of hardship you've endured was never in vain. It was the mold that refined your character, the fire that tested your loyalty. At times, you may have felt stuck, but in the unseen realm, I was forming in you something far deeper than any achievement you ever dreamed of. You may have believed that to please me, you must avoid all mistakes. But it is when you recognize your weakness that you truly open your heart to receive me. It is in your limitation that I demonstrate my limitless power. As Paul once wrote, my strength is made perfect in weakness, 2 Corinthians 12:9. You don't have to strain to prove yourself before me. Come as you are, for I do not love an idealized version of you. I love you, with all your flaws, questions, and unhealed wounds. There are times when you feel trapped in a cycle with no escape, striving, failing, repenting, then striving again. But my child, what I seek is not a person who never errs, but a heart that is humble and soft. I am not deterred by your stumbles. I am only grieved when you do not allow me to lift you up. Do not let shame push you away from me. Remember, in the parable of the prodigal son, the father ran to embrace his child the moment he turned back, Luke 15:20. Likewise, I stand waiting for your return, not with eyes of condemnation, but with eyes full of love. You do not need to carry everything on your shoulders. I did not create you to live as if you were the sole source of strength, solution, or comfort. I am the source of all these. When you learn to release your grip, when you surrender your need for control, that is when I begin to act with clarity. The miracle doesn't come from mastering every variable, but from letting me be the true Lord of every part of your life. And no, this surrendering to me does not mean giving up your will. It is the most courageous act your soul can perform, a conscious yielding, a trust that takes root, not merely in words, but in your very being. It is when you say, I do not fully understand, but I choose to believe. I do not clearly see, but I choose to move forward. I am not strong, but I trust in the strength of the one who is with me. Of my beloved child, When you wonder why things are not unfolding according to your plans, I want you to understand that there is a deeper reason beneath it all. Your plans, though born of sincere passion and effort, are limited by human understanding. Meanwhile, my intentions stretch beyond what eyes can see, beyond what finite minds can grasp. Closed doors are not always rejections, they are often my protection. Unexpected detours are not always confusion. They may be the only path to the place I have destined for you. There are things you've pursued with all your might, yet they never came to pass. Do not be quick to call that failure. Perhaps it was my way of shielding you from what you were not ready to receive, or from something that, if attained, would draw your soul away from my presence. Sometimes, what I delay is what you thought was a blessing, but it was a hidden danger. And often, the very things that grieve you today will one day become reasons for gratitude, because I did not let them happen your way. For all things work together for good to those who love God, Romans 8:28. So trust firmly in my providence. Perhaps you have prayed for swift intervention, but I answered with silence. Yet, my child, delay is not denial. When I am silent, it does not mean I am distant. It may be the pause that tests and strengthens your faith. For real, faith is not only voiced in songs of triumph when everything goes well, it is proven in steadfastness beneath gray skies. When you wait patiently in the silence, you are building a kind of endurance that nothing else can create. I never place you in a trial without granting grace to endure it. Every hardship you face carries a hidden gift, a quiet transformation taking place within your soul. Do not fear when you feel alone in the storm. In Scripture, Job endured a long silence from me, but he declared, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him," Job 13:15. That is faith beyond logic, beyond emotion. It is rooted in the unwavering belief that I am good, no matter the circumstance. You may grow weary from unanswered prayers, from longings still unmet, but I invite you to look back. How many burdens once felt unbearable have now become priceless lessons? How many times did you think you lost something, only to discover something deeper in return? You may not realize it, but those quiet steps have drawn you closer to me than ever before. It is in falling that you've learned to lift your eyes toward help from above. Remember, I do not measure you by outcomes, but by surrender. I do not judge your worth by achievements, but by the faithfulness you show when no one is watching. In this world, people celebrate speed, efficiency, and results, but in my kingdom, what I honor is patience, perseverance, and unshakable faith. I see every time you stand back up when you're tired, every time you choose to forgive while still hurting, every time you hold on to hope with no visible guarantee, and I remember them all. Not one tear you've shed is wasted. They are gathered like precious gems in my hands, a testimony of unfailing love and unwavering faith. Sometimes, you compare yourself with others and wonder why their journey seems easier, why they succeed faster, while you still struggle. But my child, your journey is unique. I do not measure you by the world's standards. I have a distinct plan, crafted only for you, with intricate details that only I can fully understand. If you're constantly looking at someone else's path, you'll miss what I'm doing right now in your own life. Come back to the center, that sacred relationship between you and me. It's not about what you can accomplish or what you possess, but whether you will place your full trust in me. every day. You can choose to believe, even when you cannot see. To walk with me, even when you don't fully understand. That is the spiritual courage this world cannot comprehend. And when you choose that way, you will experience something far deeper, a peace that does not depend on circumstances, a joy that is not born of success, and a rest that flows from knowing you are being led by one who never makes a mistake. I am the Eternal One, the God who not only knows the beginning, but also the end. And between those 2 points, I walk with you always, my beloved child. Now I invite you to look back on the road you have traveled, not with eyes of judgment, but with understanding and mercy. How many times have you passed through unexpected turns? Faced choices without a map or clear direction? I am not unfamiliar with the wrestlings of your mind. When reason urged you to let go, but your heart clung to a fragile trust in me. I know every silent moment of your inner struggle. Those moments, though they may seem small or insignificant, are counted as courageous steps by heaven itself. Have you ever thought that all you've gone through was just a series of minor tests? Mere passing phases in life? But I tell you the truth, not a single moment is without value if you place it in my hands. Every season, whether bright or dark, has helped shape who you are. Just as a rough stone cannot become a masterpiece without the touch of a skilled craftsman, you cannot become a useful vessel without being formed through experience. And I am that supreme craftsman, the one who is shaping you patiently and lovingly. My child, there is something I want you to hold deeply. True transformation never happens without surrender. If you long to step into something new, you must be willing to release the old. This is not easy, because the old is often tied to a sense of safety, familiarity, and at times, the illusion of control. But I cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. If you truly desire to encounter the miraculous in your spiritual journey, you must be willing to let go of habits, mindsets, and sometimes even relationships that no longer align with the path I've chosen for you. Do not fear change. You are not alone on this path. I not only walk with you, I go before you to prepare the way and make it straight. There may be times when you stand at a crossroads, uncertain which direction to take. I do not withhold my intentions from you, but you must learn to listen in the quiet. I do not always speak through thunder. More often, I whisper in the gentle breeze, like Elijah of old, who did not find me in the earthquake or the fire, but in a still, small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. So too must you quiet your heart to hear me. When you learn this, when you choose stillness over hurried reaction, waiting over impulsive action, you will begin to recognize my hand guiding you. Mysteries will slowly unravel. Questions long unanswered will be replaced with peace that surpasses understanding. Wisdom will no longer feel distant, but will walk with you in each small decision, not because you understand everything, but because you have learned to walk with the one who does. My dear child, life will never be without challenges, but what makes the difference is not whether trials come, but how you respond to them. If you let circumstances define you, you will always feel lost. But if you let my presence be the measure of your worth and direction, you will stand firm no matter what surrounds you. Do not let the voices of failure, fear, or doubt rule your mind. Let my word be your only compass, the lamp that never goes out in the night of uncertainty. I never promised the road would be smooth, but I did promise I would walk with you. I never said you'd never weep, but I promised to wipe away every tear. I never said you'd always be understood, but I promised you'd always be fully known by me. And no one can snatch you out of my hand. Even if the world shakes, even if all you trusted crumbles beneath you, you are safe in my embrace, the only place that cannot be shaken. Stand firm, my child. What lies ahead is not a repetition of the past, but a new chapter written in faith, hope, and love. You are no longer the same. You have been prepared. Every tear, every whispered prayer, every moment you chose to believe without seeing has shaped a soul ready for something greater, and that is coming. You need only keep walking step by step with your eyes fixed on me, the author and finisher of your faith. My beloved, it is time you look into your own soul with the light of truth, not through the lens of past failures. Many times, you have allowed the past to dictate your future, letting old wounds choke out your capacity for hope. I have seen the moments you stifled a sigh, tried to appear strong just to hide what was still broken inside. But today, I do not want you to keep living in that shell. I invite you into a process of healing, not by your own strength, but through my love, which is not bound by time or the limitations of flesh. I do not come to deny that you have been hurt, nor do I ask you to ignore your emotions, pretending the pain never existed. On the contrary, I acknowledge every crack in your soul, every wound, every silent ache. I see them all. I never turn a blind eye to what makes you weep in the night. But my child, I have not come merely to sympathize. I have come to restore. I have come to pour oil and wine upon your wounds, like the Good Samaritan did for the man left beaten on the roadside, Luke 10:34. I am the healer, and my heart longs for you to be whole, not just in body, but in the depths of your spirit. You have learned to build walls to protect yourself, but you don't realize that those very walls are keeping out my peace. When you lock the door to keep pain away, you also close the door to comfort. I do not force my way in. I knock softly, patiently, Revelation 3:20. When you open, even just a little, I will enter with a presence that brings rest to your weary soul. I do not come to judge you or echo the accusations others have thrown at you. I come to say, you are still precious. You are still loved. You are still chosen. And do not think that healing is a short journey. Just as a tree needs time to take root and grow again after the storm, so too does your soul need time to heal. But the difference is this: you do not walk that road alone. I will walk it with you, lifting you when you're weary, drying your tears when you're downcast, and reminding you that nothing is ever too late when I still reign over your life. Let me lift from you the burdens that were never meant to be yours. Give me the memories that have chained your soul in unseen shackles. I want to see you free, not just from what is harmful, but free to step into what is truly good. You may have thought I couldn't use someone as scarred as you, but I am not limited by the past. I do not see you through the lens of failure. I see the potential you have yet to discover. There are things I want to accomplish through your life, things that only you, with your honest experiences and sincere tears, can fulfill. The wounds of the past, once healed by me, will become doors of hope for others who have lost their way, not because you are perfect, but because I dwell within you, the one who is perfect and complete. You do not have to keep carrying the burden of being worthy enough. What I want you to understand is this: I chose you not because you were good enough, but because my love is enough. Grace does not follow effort, it precedes it. It is not a reward for the perfect, but a gift for the humble. When you accept your need for healing, that is when I begin to work most deeply. For he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. Do not be ashamed to bring your shattered heart before me. It is precisely the broken things placed in my hands that I turn into the most wondrous. Stop hiding your fear. My child, I am not surprised by your negative emotions. You can come to me even when your heart is filled with doubt. I do not love you less in your weakness, nor do I love you more in your strength. My love is eternal, unmoved by outward expressions, unchanged by your moods or behavior. That very constancy is what you need in a world so full of change. And once you place your trust in that love, you will find a new strength, not one that comes from self-confidence, but from confidence in me. You may not yet know how to open your heart completely. That's all right. I do not demand instant perfection. I only ask for one small step. When you reach out, I will take your hand. When you bow your head, I will lift you up. And if you no longer have the strength to walk, I will carry you through the roughest paths. Be honest with me. Don't pray as if you have to impress me with polished words. I preferiraf. Honest words that rise from the depths. I already know everything in your heart, so there is no need to hide. Truth will set you free, John 8:32. And surrendering in truth will open the door to deep transformation. My beloved, when you learn to let me enter the hidden corners of your soul, my first desire is not to fix you, but to let you know that you are received. This acceptance does not depend on what you can do. It flows from the unchanging truth that you were created in love. I know everything within you, even the parts you're not ready to face, and I still choose to stay. Not because you meet a certain standard, but because I chose to be bound to you long before you could make any decision. You've often believed you must handle everything on your own, bracing yourself so as not to appear weak. But my child, what pleases me is not a facade of strength, but sincerity. I am not looking for those who always seem strong. I seek hearts willing to admit their shortcomings and bring them before me. Humility does not make you smaller. It clears the path for me to move in great ways. For I have said, those who humble themselves will be lifted up. Luke 14:11. In that humility, you will discover a source of strength, not from your willpower, but from me. The world will tell you that you must control everything: emotions, career, relationships, even the future. But I teach you the opposite. I teach you to let go, not with recklessness, but by laying down unnecessary burdens, so that you may learn to lean on something more solid than yourself. A strange freedom emerges when you accept that you cannot do it all, because that's when you make room for me to do what only I can do. You have tried to hold on to things I've been gently trying to remove from your hands. Maybe it's a relationship that's no longer whole, a plan you've clung to that is no longer right, or an image you've crafted for others to accept you. But my child, anything you refuse to release may be the very thing blocking your entrance into something greater. I understand your fears: fear of losing control, fear of being hurt, fear of not being secure. But I tell you the truth, what I have for you is far better than what you're trying to hold on to. When Abraham let go of Isaac, his most precious treasure, it was not an end, but the beginning of a profound affirmation that he trusted me more than what he loved. And my child, I did not take Isaac away. I only wanted to know that Abraham was willing to place his faith above his feelings. Likewise, What you need to release today may not be lost. It may be transformed, returned in a healthier and more glorious form. You will never lose what truly belongs to you when you place it in my hands. There is a paradox in my kingdom. To receive, you must give. To live, you must die to the old self. To be lifted up, you must humble yourself. These principles are not popular and rarely embraced by the masses, but they are the only paths that lead to truth and life. You are not called to live as the world lives. You are called to reflect a different way, a way not based on performance, but on connection, not driven by anxiety, but grounded in lasting peace, not swept along by the crowd, but led by my voice. I know there is a persistent battle within you between what you believe and what you see. Your eyes see the circumstances, but your heart remembers the promise. Your eyes see the delay, but your soul hopes for a miracle. Don't let what you see blur what you know. Learn to see through faith a kind of vision that comes from the soul, not the senses. Just as Peter walked on water when his eyes were fixed on me, but began to sink when he looked at the wind and waves, Matthew 14:29-30. So it is with you. Do not let your circumstances dictate your spiritual sight. When you fix your eyes on me, the impossible becomes possible. Sometimes you ask, how can I know your will? The answer doesn't lie in a formula, but in intimate union between you and me. When you dwell close to me, your heart begins to beat in rhythm with mine. What I love, you will love. What breaks my heart, you will feel. And from there, guidance is no longer a distant echo. It becomes the pulse within. You won't need to run around searching for advice if you learn to be still and let your heart grow sensitive to the whispers of my spirit. And this is the final thing I want you to remember on this journey today. Nothing you offer me is ever wasted. The time you've sacrificed, the unanswered prayers, the tears you've shed, they are all kept by me. They don't vanish into nothingness. I am the one who remembers. I do not overlook even the smallest act of love, nor forget a single moment you chose to forgive, despite the pain. In due time, I will repay not by human standards, but in the way I know is best, and my way always exceeds expectation. My beloved child, what I desire to plant in your heart now is not just comfort, but a completely renewed vision of who you are, not through the lens of the world, nor by the standards people place on you, but according to the way I, your Creator, have shaped and named you. I want you to stop limiting yourself by the old labels that have long marked your identity. Too weak, too late, not good enough. Those names are not from me. They do not reflect the true nature I placed within you. I did not create you to live afraid of making mistakes, but to live in the dignity of your divine identity, walking worthy of the calling from heaven. Your understanding of yourself must begin with me, for if you do not see yourself through my lens, you will always be at the mercy of the ever-shifting voices of others. And do you know what happens when you live by their words? You become a copy of something temporary, instead of an expression of what is eternal. I did not make you to mimic anyone else. I did not call you to repeat an old path. You are unique, every fingerprint, every hidden corner of your soul. Every step of your journey is an irreplaceable part of my design. So stop comparing. Stop questioning why others seem to have smoother paths. Each person has a purpose, but no one can take your place in the role I've prepared for you. I want you to begin to see your true worth, not something to earn or prove, but something that has been present since the beginning. When I say, "You are my beloved child," it is not a cliché. It is an eternal affirmation. It is not based on your current actions or future achievements. It is rooted in my nature, the faithful one, the unchanging Father. When I place my love on a soul, that love is never withdrawn because of failure or mistakes. It is because I love that you are valuable, not the other way around. So, my child, stop searching for validation in places that can never offer it. An unhealed heart will strive endlessly to be seen, but a heart that knows it is loved will live from a place of fullness. I do not want you to remain emotionally starved, dependent on fleeting approval from others. I want you to walk in peace, grounded in the certainty that even if others turn away, I remain, even if no one understands. I see completely, and even if you lose everything, my love remains your unstealable treasure. Pause and ask yourself, who am I living to please? If you live to meet the world's expectations, you will always be spinning in a cycle of shoulds and musts. But if you live for me, you will begin to experience true freedom, not the kind of freedom that leads to confusion, but the kind that is grounded in purpose. When you know to whom you belong, you will know what you live for. And once that is settled, no circumstance can shake you. I am not unfamiliar with the hidden fears in your heart, the worries about the future, the pressure to get it right, the whispers telling you that you've missed the best of your life. But my dear one, I want you to know nothing is ever too late in my hands. I am the one who brings spring in the middle of winter, the one who makes barren branches bloom. I am not bound by human timelines. If you are still breathing, then I am still writing your story. What I need is not a flawless resume, but a willing heart. Here I am. Lord, use me. Hen, you are not bound by the failures of your past. In fact, how many broken people have I used to accomplish my greatest purposes? Moses was a murderer. David fell into sin. Peter denied me, yet each of them was restored. Not because they were perfect, but because they knew how to return. I am not afraid of your past. What matters to me is whether you will let me step into your present and take hold of your future. Don't let guilt pull you away from me. It is in the very moment you feel like a stranger that I am closer than ever. It is when you feel most unworthy that I say, "Come, my beloved child." May. And when you come, know this. What I offer is not merely a second chance. It is a brand new life. A life led by me, no longer ruled by fear or regret. You will not have to rebuild from the ground up in your own strength, for I will be the rock beneath your feet. Everything you do, if it flows from obedience, will bear fruit beyond what you ever hoped for. For when you are in me, you do not merely survive, you flourish. You do not simply endure, you influence. You do not just overcome, you become a guide for others to overcome as well. My child, from this day forward, I invite you to see your life with new eyes, no longer through the mirror of the world, but through my word, a word that is alive, powerful, and unchanging. You are not defined by your circumstances, not limited by your beginnings, nor distorted by the criticisms of others. You are established by a great and mighty one, the one who has chosen you, called you, and who will complete the good work he began in you. So rise not with pride, but with the quiet confidence that you are mine, and I am yours. Beloved one, I know you carry within you many unanswered questions, silent thoughts about timing, transition, and the true meaning of what you're walking through. More than once, you've asked, when will things change? You've looked around, compared, and even doubted whether a promise has been withdrawn. But child, I have not forgotten a single word I have spoken. Every promise I made is being preserved for the appointed time. And what I am doing is not just a miracle before your eyes, it is a transformation within your spirit. If you're only waiting for external change but ignore what I'm shaping inside, you will miss the very essence of this journey. For what I seek is not short-term change, but lasting transformation. True change does not begin in your environment, but in your heart. That's why I sometimes delay what you hope for, not to disappoint you, but to prepare you to receive the blessing rightly. If I gave you what you asked for while your heart was still restless, that very blessing could become a burden. But when I give it to you, after you've been refined and rooted in me, that gift will not only bless you, it will bear eternal fruit. There is a spiritual principle you must understand. Speed does not always mean effectiveness, and delay is not necessarily failure. I do not work according to the world's clock. I move in the time I have appointed, the right moment, the right place, the right person. Look to Scripture and you'll see. I often do great things after long periods of waiting. Joseph was imprisoned for years before rising to power. David was anointed by Samuel as a boy, but waited through an entire journey before becoming king. Even Jesus, my only son, did not begin his ministry until he was 30. Not because they lacked ability, but because their hearts and souls had to be tested, refined, and deeply prepared. So do not let delay discourage you. See it as a time of strengthening. A great tree does not rush to sprout. It must first drive its roots deep. What is visible above ground is easy to spot, but it is the hidden foundation that determines endurance. In the same way, this quiet season you are walking through is where I am silently forming someone stronger, deeper, and more unshakable. Every moment you remain faithful without seeing results, every prayer you lift without hearing an answer, they are all stones being laid for a solid foundation for what I am about to do. Look at yourself now compared to 1 year ago. 5 years ago, you've changed. There are shifts that even you didn't notice. Things that once brought you down no longer defeat you. Temptations that used to pull you in no longer attract you as they once did. None of this is by accident. It is the result of the quiet work I've been doing in your soul. True transformation is rarely loud. It happens in stillness, but with great power. And then one day, when everything is in place, the fruit will bloom, and nothing can stop it. Do not be tempted by impatience. Some things, if given too early, will not be sustained. I do not give just so you can have. I give so that purpose may be fulfilled, and purpose cannot be lived out until the inner person is ready. So if you're still in the process today, know that I am not delaying, I am refining. If the road I lead you on is longer than you expected, I know that it is because I am laying a foundation deeper than you imagined. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. You may not see the full picture yet, but I have seen the end from the beginning. You may feel like you're stuck in the middle of the story, but I am the author, and I do not write halfway. I do not put my pen down mid-sentence. Every chapter has a purpose. Every event has been allowed for a deeper intention. Do not judge the present chapter through fleeting emotions. Do not mistake my silence for rejection. Sometimes Silence is the backdrop that allows you to hear me more clearly. Let your heart be still, so you won't miss the sacred whisper amidst the calm. Dear one, what is coming is not merely external change, but a spiritual upgrade. You are being invited to live not by what is seen, but by what is secure, not to live by favorable circumstances, but by unshakable promises. When you grasp this principle, you will no longer be tossed by change. You will walk with a different kind of steadiness, a peace no one can steal, a faith no one can extinguish. My beloved child, when I lead you through seasons you cannot predict, it is never to test you arbitrarily. On the contrary, every step of that path has been carefully measured. Nothing in your life happens by chance. If a wind stirs within your soul, if a door closes suddenly, if a plan collapses despite your efforts, all of it is within my permission. And if I have allowed it, then there is a purpose behind it, one that, for now, you may not yet see. Do you know that sometimes it is precisely in your disorientation that you learn to stop relying on your own understanding when you can no longer explain? Your spirit must reach for me. That is the beginning of a deeper faith, a faith not based on results, but on knowing the one you follow. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. You do not need to understand everything to take the next step. You only need to know that I never change, and if I am leading you, you can walk forward even without seeing the path clearly. Many times, you wish for a smooth road, a clear plan, a predictable timeline. But I do not operate like man. I do not reveal the full picture just to satisfy your intellect. I teach you how to listen for my voice in each small step, each daily decision. I teach you to live not by a detailed map, but by daily guidance. That is why, even though it may feel like you're waiting a long time, in truth, I am teaching you how to live like a true child, not anxious about tomorrow, not regretful over yesterday, but fully present in the now, where I am with you. If you pay attention, you will notice that it is in the most uncertain moments that you most clearly sense my presence. Because in those times, you have nothing else to cling to. You stop seeking answers from others. You no longer have the strength to carry yourself. And it is in your end that I begin to work most fully. What you thought was the end may in fact be the beginning of a relationship more alive, more real, no longer veiled by self-sufficiency or control. I once taught you that faith is believing in what is unseen. But now, I want you to know that faith is also walking in the dark with unwavering trust that I am holding your hand. Do not fear the darkness, for I can see clearly, even in the dark. Do not dread the path with no signs, for I am your guide. There will be times when I ask you to walk on water, where nothing beneath your feet feels secure, so you may come to know that my word alone is your true foundation. When I say, come, that alone is enough for you to step forward. Even when circumstances say otherwise, do not let waiting harden your heart. Let it become a season of planting. In the waiting, you can nourish your faith, cultivate gratitude, and strengthen spiritual discernment. Do not view time as an enemy. Time is a tool in my hands, shaping you into my likeness. Just as gold must be refined by fire, so must your soul be purified through seasons of testing. And when you emerge from it, you will not be the same. You will carry a new strength not born from avoiding pain, but from enduring it with unshakable hope. Some lessons can only be learned in the land of uncertainty. When everything is clear, you have no need for faith. But when all you have is my promise, then you truly learn to cling to the unshakable. And that is where you are established not on feelings, but on a promise that never changes. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. Matthew 24-35. Hold on to that as your anchor in the stormy sea. Though the waves may rise and emotions shift, my word remains the one unchanging truth you can rely on. And my dear child, remember that faith is not a fleeting emotion. Faith is a decision. Every day, you can choose to believe what I say. Even when your feelings do not align, you can choose to walk in obedience, even when you feel no joy or peace. That is where spiritual maturity begins, not when you are moved by emotion, but when you are led by conviction. A faith like this bears fruit, not the fruit of pride, but the fruit of humble trust that cannot be shaken. So if today you find yourself in a season where all seems quiet, do not be alarmed. I am working not around you, but within you. There are sacred structures that can only be built in silence. There are spiritual treasures that are formed only in darkness. And there are wonders that appear only after your soul has learned to depend completely on me. My beloved, what I am building in your life is not a series of short-lived miracles, but a firm foundation that will not be moved by time or trial. I do not call you out of your comfort zone only to cast you into chaos. I lead you on this journey to establish within you a strength that the world cannot give and cannot take away. It is an inner, divine strength born from intimate communion between you and me through unseen nights, unanswered prayers, and the times you chose to stand firm with nothing to hold on to but my word. You often think that spiritual growth requires doing more, longer prayers, greater service, deeper sacrifice. But I want you to understand that sometimes the most profound thing you can do is stop and surrender. Not a hopeless surrender, but an intentional yielding. Surrender is not the abandonment of your worth, but the handing over of the steering wheel to the one who knows every turn ahead. When you entrust me with the controls, you are acknowledging that I know you better than you know yourself. And that doesn't make you weaker. On the contrary, it opens the way for me to move beyond the limits of your human reasoning. Picture a child riding a bicycle with their father holding them from behind. At first, the child wobbles, afraid and uncertain, but gradually, thanks to the steady hand holding them up, they begin to feel secure and brave enough to continue. You are just like that. If your spiritual steps are still shaky, it does not mean you lack faith. It means you are learning to trust me more. Every trembling step you take without turning back is proof that faith is being forged. Every time you choose to keep praying despite seeing no results is a sign you are maturing in trust. Perhaps the hardest lesson you will learn is to surrender the right to know everything. You want to know why things happen the way they do. You want to know when what you've been waiting for will come. You want to know whether the waiting will truly bring anything good. But I never promised you would understand everything in this life. What I did promise is that I will never leave you. You don't need a map when you walk beside the guide. You don't need full knowledge of the plan if you trust the one who designed it. Sometimes, the greatest wisdom is simply to be still and keep walking by the little light I give for each day. I know there are mornings when you do not feel strong, when your faith feels absent, when even the desire to pray seems far away. I do not condemn you for that. I simply invite you to be faithful in the small things. A whispered word to me in the middle of a chaotic morning. A silent bow when your heart feels heavy. A quiet decision to avoid wrongdoing even when no one is watching. These small things, done with faithfulness, are the jewels I use to build your true self. Do not despise the silent steps. It is they that are leading you to a place unshakable. You often think, my presence comes only when you pray fervently or worship with intense emotion. But I am not confined to feelings. I am there in your sighs. I am present when you have no words. I draw even closer when you no longer have strength to try. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34-18. If your heart is weary today, do not hide it from me. Bring it. Do not decorate it. Do not conceal it. Place your full burden into my hands. I will not turn you away. Do you know that every time you dare to be honest with me, not only is relief found, but a deeper connection is formed? Intimacy is not built on perfect rituals, but on authentic presence. I do not require hours of eloquent prayer. I look for a sincere heart, a soul that does not hide. Live as if I am always near, not as a stern judge, but as a merciful Father. When you know that I am listening even before you speak, prayer becomes a loving conversation, not a pressured duty. And when you live that way, when the relationship between me and you becomes honest, without masks or performance, that is when you experience true transformation. No longer a fleeting change, but a continuous process in which your heart is gradually reshaped into my image. You will no longer strive to be better in order to earn my love. You will live beautifully because you know you are already loved. Obedience will no longer be a burden, but a natural response of a grateful heart. Spiritual discipline will no longer be an obligation, but the overflow of joy from being close to me. My child, if you have not yet seen the breakthrough today, do not be discouraged. What you are building is an unshakable life, and that takes time, patience, and daily surrender. But take heart, you are not walking alone. I am walking with you. I am working within you, and I will complete what I have begun. Hold fast to your faith, for the best is still to come. My beloved child, the time has come for you to release something deeply dangerous that has long clung to your heart, the doubt of your own worth. I do not blame you for this. I know there have been many voices from your environment, from memories, and even from those you hold dear that have sown uncertainty within you. They told you that you are not good enough, not worthy enough, not capable enough to become anything meaningful. Over time, those words gathered and formed a murky mirror, obscuring your true reflection. But I have come today to do what no one else can. I will replace that distorted mirror with a vision from heaven. I do not see you through the lens of achievements, nor do I evaluate you by your successes or failures. I see beyond every scar, beyond every mistake, and I behold a precious soul molded by my hand, born for a sacred purpose, and inscribed upon my heart before the foundation of the world. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1:1. This is not merely a word of comfort, it is a declaration of your eternal essence and unshakable value. My child, your worth does not come from what you have, but from the one who created you. If a priceless painting holds its value because of the master who painted it, how much more is your soul worth, into which I breathed my very life? The truth is this: no one else can take your place in the role I have destined for you. You are not an accident of creation. You are an essential part of my grand design. And no matter what the world says, I have never changed my mind about you. You may doubt yourself, but I do not. You may momentarily forget your purpose, but I never forget why I made you. Stop asking yourself, am I good enough? For that question is rooted in the wrong foundation. I did not call you because you were qualified. I called you because I chose you. And when I choose, I also train, equip, and walk with you until all that I have spoken comes to pass. When I saw Gideon, he was hiding from his enemies, full of fear. But I did not call him a coward, I called him a mighty warrior. Judges 6:12. Not because he acted like one, but because I saw the potential within him that even he had not yet discovered. In the same way, when I look at you, I see what you've never dared to believe is real. I want you to step out of the land of self-doubt. That place is cold, dark, and barren. I am calling you into another land, a place where the light of truth illuminates every corner of your spirit. A place where you stop measuring yourself by human standards and begin to see yourself as I see you. It is a place where your heart is free to dream, to build, to walk in holy courage, not out of pride, but from the certainty that your origin is divine. When you live with that awareness, you no longer strive to prove anything. You simply live out the truth that has always been, that you are loved, chosen, and entrusted with purpose. And do you know this? When a soul begins to live from the place of knowing their worth in me, that soul is no longer easily shaken by judgment. You will no longer be paralyzed by rejection, because you know you've already been accepted. You will no longer chase after applause, because you live for the delight of me alone. You will no longer be quick to react when misunderstood, because you know the one who sees your heart is on your side. Peace will replace anxiety. Confidence in Christ will displace the invisible weight of shame, and this will mark the beginning of a truly free life. I am not saying you will never again be attacked by lies. The enemy will still try to whisper familiar doubts into your mind. You're not capable. You've wasted too much time. You're not like the others. But now, my child, you have a weapon, the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. Whenever a lie knocks on your door, answer it with my word. When feelings of uselessness creep in, remember that I call you useful for the kingdom. When you feel forgotten, recall my promise. I will never leave you nor forsake you. My dear one, when you receive this truth into your heart, you will not only walk with a new confidence, but you will also become a carrier of that strength for others. This world is filled with people living as though they've been pushed aside not because they lack value, but because they do not recognize their own. When you live in the light, you become a torchbearer, leading other souls out of the land of lost identity. You become a refuge for the faint-hearted, a place of healing for the wounded, and a voice of righteousness in a chaotic world. Not because you are perfect, but because you dare to live from the foundation established in me. Beloved, let me etch this into your heart today. You do not need another sign. You do not need one more person's approval. My word is enough. My choice is clear. My love needs no proof. And my purpose is not altered by fleeting emotions. Live as one who has been sent. Walk as one who knows where they belong. And believe that when you stand on this truth, Nothing, not even the fiercest accusations, can steal the position you have been given from heaven. My precious one, as you begin to live with a clear awareness of your worth in me, you will see the world respond in different ways. Some will see the new light in you and be drawn to you, seeking encouragement, asking you about the source of a peace and steadiness they have never known. But others may feel threatened, confused, even resistant, not because you've done anything wrong, but because the light in you reveals shadows they are not yet ready to confront. You are not called to live like everyone else. You are called to live as one set apart, and that set apartness is not arrogance, but a holy presence, humble, yet full of spiritual authority. The world will try to pull you back to its standards. It will say you need to succeed faster, gain more recognition, prove that you are enough. But I have never measured you by such things. I look at your heart where there is integrity, where there is quiet faithfulness, where there is obedience that needs no applause. These are the things that hold eternal value. So do not be surprised when you are misunderstood, misused, or even excluded. These do not define who you are. They only confirm that you are walking a path different from the crowd. And that is right. You are not shaped by the masses, but by my word. Do not let the fear of being left out make you compromise what is right. Do not let the longing to belong make you forget that you already fully belong to me. You do not need to find your place in human circles when you already have a secure standing in my kingdom. Remember, you are a bearer of light, and light is not meant to be hidden. Light does not bargain with darkness in order to survive. Light simply shows up and darkness must retreat. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:4. When you live true to your divine identity, you don't have to strive to shine. You just have to be present. Your honesty, your kindness, your steadfast faith will speak louder than any sermon. You don't need many words, for your very life will be the testimony of what I am doing in your heart. However, living as light also means embracing difference. And sometimes, that difference comes with loneliness. Not because I want you to be isolated, but because some journeys are for you and me alone. Some decisions will be guided by my whisper that only you hear. Some boundaries you must set will be misunderstood by others. Some steps of faith you take will be called foolish by the world. But I have not called you to live by the understanding of the majority. I have called you to obey the voice of heaven. Look to Noah. He built an ark for years in a land that had never seen great rain. People laughed, mocked, called him delusional. But when the time came, when the flood waters rose, only those in the ark were saved. Noah did not live to be understood. He lived to obey. And that obedience saved a generation. Likewise, what you are building today may not be understood by others. But if you know it is what I have commanded, continue. For you are not building something temporary, you are building something of eternal worth. My beloved child, obedience is not always comfortable, but it is always right. Obedience requires courage, the courage to resist public opinion, the courage to say no when others say yes, the courage to wait when everyone else is rushing ahead. Yet you will never lack courage if you keep your eyes fixed on me. For strength does not come from your own striving, but from knowing that you are never alone. I am there in every hard decision, every long night, every uncelebrated choice. When you keep your heart pure, when you refuse to compromise even at the cost of things you hold dear, You are displaying a spiritual strength that no one can counterfeit. Holiness is not outdated. It is power, a quiet, enduring power that enables you to stand firm while others fall. And I have called you to live this way, not because you must be perfect, but because you have been set apart for a higher purpose. Remember, the light within you does not originate from you. It comes from me, the one who dwells in you, the one who never fades. When you feel weary, return to me. When you feel lost, be still and listen. When you feel out of place in this world, remember, you do not belong to it. You are a citizen of an unshakable kingdom, and in that kingdom, you are never forgotten. You are loved. You are sent. You are equipped. And you are protected. So live with conviction. Be brave enough to walk differently. Dare to remain faithful to my values, even if it means walking alone. Because you are not alone, you are simply walking a narrow path. But it is the path that leads to life. And on that path, I walk with you every step, every day, without leaving. My beloved one, as you begin to stand firm in the affirmation that comes from me, you will at times face resistance, not from the obvious enemies, but from those you least expect. Not everyone will rejoice when my light shines brightly through you. Not all will understand the path I am laying before you. Sometimes, the very people you trusted, those who once journeyed with you for a season, will not be able to continue when you begin to walk deeper into your calling. But do not be discouraged. I never ask you to release something precious without the intention of giving you something better. There is an unchanging principle in the spiritual journey. To move forward, you must sometimes learn to let go. It may be relationships that no longer align. It may be old perspectives that once comforted you. It may even be a version of yourself you've held on to for too long. I know it's not easy. I don't diminish the pain of transition. But I assure you, everything you surrender in obedience will make room for what I am establishing. Not to leave you empty, but to make you whole. Do not cling to what is past when I am opening a greater door before you. Regret is an anchor that pulls you back, while faith is the wings that carry you forward. When I called Abram to leave his homeland and his father's house, he did not know exactly where he was going, but he obeyed. That obedience changed not only his life, but his descendants and the course of human history. Likewise, walking in uncertainty is the very place where your faith is revealed most clearly. I don't need you to know everything, I just need you to trust that I do. I know you're still learning to live without seeking approval from the world. It is a difficult but necessary journey. You've grown accustomed to measuring your worth by acceptance, but I am inviting you into a different reality, one where you live from the inside out, not the outside in. Don't let the voice of the crowd drown out the whisper of the Spirit. Don't let the glance of doubt extinguish the assurance I've sown in your heart. I have sealed you not with fleeting words, but with an eternal promise written in the blood of the covenant. When you live with the awareness that you are sent, you will begin to respond to criticism differently. You will no longer feel offended by misunderstanding, for you know your life is not about pleasing others. You will no longer panic when rejected, for you know you have been accepted by me. Most importantly, you will discover something miraculous. Silence in me holds more power than any defense in the flesh. I do not need you to protect yourself. I am your defender. When you keep your heart pure, I will rise to defend you, and your righteousness will shine like the dawn. You may be in a season where loneliness knocks like an uninvited guest. But child, know this. It is a sign that you are being set apart, not for isolation, but for consecration, not for abandonment, but for preparation. Every person I've used deeply has passed through such a season. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before becoming a deliverer. Elijah hid by the brook of Kerith before he stood on Mount Carmel. John the Baptist lived in the wilderness before proclaiming the arrival of the Messiah. The places that seem void of human voices are often filled with my voice. So don't rush back to the familiar. Don't seek safety if it means abandoning your inner call. The calling does not always come with comfort. Sometimes it brings solitude. Sometimes it demands that you stand alone. But it is in those very moments that you will meet me most clearly. You will see me not as doctrine has described, but as the living one whispering, guiding you through every turn. I am not distant, I am near. So near that even the faintest stir of your heart is enough to move mine. And I want you to know this. There is no sacrifice I do not see. No tear you shed in secret goes unnoticed. Everything you dare to lay down, everything you silently endure for my name's sake, is stored in the kingdom like precious gems. One day, those very things will yield a harvest beyond compare, for I am just, and my reward is with me. Revelation 22:12. You don't need to strive to be rewarded. Because you have been faithful, reward is inevitable. So press on, my child. Even if you are misunderstood, rejected, or isolated, stand firm. Do not abandon the place where I have stationed you. Do not retreat from the ground where I am training you. You are not cast aside, you are being positioned. Not for recognition by man, but so that I may know you are ready. And when the time comes, you won't need to compete for a place. The door will open on its own, for I hold the keys. What I open, no one can shut, and what I shut, no one can open. You only need to remain faithful. I will do the rest. My beloved, once your heart is placed in my hands, what matters most is not where you are, but who you are becoming. For my goal is not simply to place you in a favorable position, but to shape within you a spirit that is strong, humble, and unshaken by praise or resistance. I am not building you to be someone well known. I am shaping you to be someone who deeply knows the one they walk with. That is the true foundation, and from that place, nothing can steal your peace. You may be living in a season that defies description, a time where no one around you fully understands what you carry within. That is not a sign of being lost. It is a vital part of the journey. When a seed is planted, it does not immediately grow in the light. First, it must hide in the dark. Before the sprout, there is a breaking. Before new life, there is a surrendering of the old form. So it is with you. What I am doing within you is a deep renewal, and sometimes it requires passing through what others call wilderness. Oh, but know this, I have not left you in the desert. I have led you there with purpose. It is precisely where there is no applause, no recognition, no audience, that you will learn to hear my voice more clearly than anywhere else. You will learn to live not by external affirmation, but by internal truth. You will no longer chase public opinion, but begin to walk by the prompting of the Spirit. And when that happens, you will not just be healed, you will be set free. There is a freedom that cannot be attained through knowledge or personal discipline, but only through deliverance from false expectations. You were not made to carry the burden of comparison. You were not designed to fit the mold of the crowd. I did not craft you to run someone else's race. You were created to finish your own on the path I have laid out just for you. It is not the wide path, nor the easy one, nor the one often applauded, but it is the path of life, the path of true glory, and it is yours alone. You once thought that following me meant stepping into a place of honor, but now you are learning something deeper. To follow me is to step into a hidden place, not a place of visibility, but one concealed in my presence. It is in that hiding place that I grant you what no one else can see: understanding, wisdom, and an unshakable peace. You will no longer live searching for something outward, because in that secret place, you will have found the deepest thing of all, me. And when you have me, you have everything you need. Do not be afraid when you find yourself separated from the familiar. Do not assume it is punishment. In truth, it is an invitation, a call to step into a new season, one where you no longer live just to survive, but to fulfill, where you no longer cling to the old, but begin to sow the new. I have not led you through so many difficult seasons just to see you return to old cycles. I have been preparing you through every wound, every lesson, every letting go, so that you may enter into a fullness you never dared to dream. My child, when you remain faithful in the small things, you are proving what many have not yet understood, that true strength does not come from position, but from perseverance. I do not measure you by quick results, but by enduring faithfulness. I watch how you handle what the world calls insignificant. And from that, I see clearly whether you can be entrusted with more, for whoever is faithful with little will be entrusted with much. You do not need to do great things to be worthy. You simply need to do what is right, and do it with all your heart. There is a spiritual glory that comes only when you are not seeking it, a reward given only when you do not demand it. It is the glory of a life hidden in my presence and affirmed not by the world, but by me. That affirmation is not loud, but it is powerful enough to change everything. You will not need anyone to bestow a title on you, for I have already called you by name. You will not need anyone to validate your abilities, for I have placed within you everything you need to complete your mission. You do not need to prove anything. You only need to remain faithful. And this is what I want you to engrave upon your heart. There will be times when you cannot see the path, yet you will still know the direction. Times when you do not hear my voice clearly, but still sense the leading within. Times when everything is still, but in that stillness, my powerful voice says, keep going. Do not wait until everything aligns perfectly before you move. Step forward now, for your obedience today will open the way for tomorrow. Beloved, and the rest of your life does not need to resemble the beginning. What I have begun, I will finish. What you have lost, I can restore. What you once feared, I can turn into strength. You no longer need to live cautiously. Move forward boldly. Live as one who has been chosen. Act as one who has been sent. For truly, I have sent you, and I will not let you go alone. My dear child, now I want to speak to you about something few are willing to embrace: waiting. In a world that loves speed, demands instant results, and worships rapid breakthroughs, you have often wondered why it seems I delay. You have prayed with all sincerity. You have been faithful in the small things. You have sacrificed more than anyone knows. Yet the answer still hasn't come. The reply remains silent, and the door seems closed. But hear me today, not a single moment of your waiting is wasted. Waiting time is not empty time. It is the waiting room of miracles, the place where I work silently but powerfully. It is during this time that unseen things are taking shape. Just like a child in the womb cannot be born before its time, what I desire to birth through your life must come in the right season. I am not in a hurry, because what I am doing is not just to meet a temporary need, but to build an unshakable foundation. And you cannot build a foundation in haste. Foundation require time, patience, and a steadfast heart. Remember Job. When everything around him collapsed, he still clung to his faith in me. In the end, he received twice as much as he had lost. But the true reward was not the riches, it was the profound revelation of me. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Job 42:5. Likewise, when you pass through the discomfort of waiting, I am not just preparing your external circumstances, I am opening your spiritual eyes to see me more clearly, more truly, more deeply than ever before. Perhaps you once thought waiting was punishment, but the truth is, I do not delay because I forget. I delay because I love. True love never gives prematurely. If a door opens before you're ready, it could destroy the very good I intend to give. If a responsibility comes too soon, it could crush your soul. So I delay not to discourage you, but to prepare you completely. Some promises require good soil. Some miracles need mature hearts to receive them. And some destinies need refining before they are entrusted. My child, waiting does not mean being abandoned. It is a sign that you are being trained by my very own hands. Everyone rejoices over the harvest, but few honor the sowing season. But without the sowing, how could there ever be a harvest as you wait? You are being plowed. The dry layers of prejudice, fear, and hidden pride are being turned over so that the light of truth may shine in. I do not want to give you something good. I want to give you what is best, and the best is never rushed. I see that you are weary. You ask, how much longer? Lord, I am not offended by that question. I know it does not come from bitter doubt, but from a heart longing for my faithfulness. But my child, do not let your weariness rob you of your vision. You are closer than you think. There are moments when everything seems more silent than ever. That is when I am about to move most unexpectedly. It is when the night is darkest that dawn is nearest. And when I move, it will be swift, unstoppable. But you must keep your heart in place until the morning breaks. I do not want you to live these days passively. Waiting does not mean inactivity. While you wait, keep nurturing your faith. Keep loving others. Even when you are hurting, keep praying not to change my mind, but to keep your heart soft before mine. Keep walking, even when the steps don't lead where you expect, for in those steady steps, you are being formed. You are learning the strength of perseverance, and that very quality will sustain you when the harvest comes. So you are not overwhelmed by the very thing you once prayed for. My beloved, remind your heart, if I have begun a good work in you, I will carry it to completion. Philippians 1-6. I am not one who starts and then abandons. I am faithful. I am not distracted. I do not change my plans because of your discouragement, but I will walk with you patiently, even when you feel you are slowing down. I do not forsake you when your faith is weak. I remain and lift you up, reminding you, faith is not about feelings, but about choosing daily to be faithful. So, keep going. Do not stop halfway. Do not turn back just because you haven't yet seen what you're waiting for. Do not let silence make you believe the promise is void. My word does not fall to the ground in vain. It will produce fruit in the right time, the right way, and in the right place. Your part is to remain faithful, not perfect, just faithful, and I will do the rest. My precious one, while you are waiting for me to act, do not think you have been set aside. In truth, you are being refined, purified, and prepared to become a vessel capable of holding what I am about to pour out. Many long for miracles, but few are willing to pass through the fire. They cry to be lifted up, but resist descending into the low places where transformation happens. But I, the one who loves you with an everlasting love, know what you need more than you do. That is why I keep you in the waiting, not to punish, but to cultivate heavenly character within you. Faith is not truly formed when everything goes your way. Faith is forged when every door closes, when the heavens are silent, and when your heart is full of unanswered questions. It is in those moments that you must decide, do you trust me for what I do, or for who I am? I do not want you to build your faith on feelings, for feelings shift like the wind. I want you to root yourself in my unchanging nature, faithful, even when circumstances say otherwise. In seasons of waiting, you will learn to release your need for control. You will learn to yield the reins into my hands. I see how tired you've been trying to keep everything in order, trying to understand every step, trying to predict the outcome. But my child, true power is not in knowing everything, but in surrendering. When you place the unknown into the hands of the one who knows all, you no longer walk in anxiety, but in deep rest. And that is where I want to lead you, a place of inner peace, where the storms outside cannot disturb the calm within. You are not alone in this journey. Scripture is full of faithful ones who walked through what seemed like forgotten years. Joseph was sold, falsely accused, imprisoned, and those long years appeared fruitless. Yet every day in that prison was a day of preparation. No one saw the refining, but it made him ready to bear the weight of governance and to save a nation. Had he been elevated too soon, he might not have endured. But I am never late, nor am I early. I arrive precisely on time. You are being refined like pure gold, not to be displayed, but to be used, not to be admired, but to be filled. Whatever has been refined can carry greater weight. Just as unbaked pottery cracks under pressure, so too an unrefined soul collapses under the weight of assignment. I do not want what I give you to become a burden to you. That is why I dig deep foundations. Even when no one sees, even when you forget what I'm building, do not be deceived by the silence. I am working behind the curtain. Just as a farmer does not see sprouts the day after sowing, yet still believes in the harvest to come, hold fast. Things are sprouting beneath the surface. Change is happening within you, even if you do not yet recognize it. Old wounds are being healed. Distorted mindsets are being reshaped. Hidden fears are being brought into light. All this is the quiet work of the Holy Spirit, who never ceases in your transformation. My child, when I work in silence, that is when you must learn to trust with spiritual ears instead of physical eyes. The greatest works I have ever done, from the creation of the universe to the redemption of humanity, began in stillness. No fireworks, no trumpet blasts, only the word. And that word had power to shake the world. Likewise, the word I speak to you, even whispered in the secret place, has the power to transform your destiny. Do not measure my power by volume. Do not limit my timing to your clock. A season is coming when you will look back on this time and see it as the most precious gift, not because of what you received, but because of who you became. You will find yourself stronger, deeper, more compassionate, and above all, closer to me than ever before. And if the waiting brought you there, was it not a hidden blessing? So keep tending the soil of your heart with faithfulness. Let your tears become the rain that waters the seeds of faith. Let the quiet hours become the unseen moments of growth. And when the season arrives, I promise the harvest will not delay. It will come suddenly, fully, and beyond anything you have hoped for, not because you did enough, but because I, the faithful one, saw you standing firm where many gave up. My beloved child, I have seen your heart tremble at my words. I know you are asking yourself, have I waited long enough? Am I truly walking the right path? Or am I just being led into a void by a fleeting illusion? But I declare to you, your waiting is not in vain. For it is I who placed that longing within your heart. And if I have begun with a call, I will not let the journey end in obscurity. I do not sow hope in human hearts, only to deny it the chance to bear fruit. Waiting is not just a season, it is a way of life for those who follow me. One who does not measure success by speed, but by obedience. One who understands that to keep the heart steadfast day after day, even when nothing appears to change, is to win a silent battle against the forces seeking to tear you from your faith. Every time you choose to continue despite exhaustion, every time you refuse to collapse despite the pain, every time you sow love despite receiving indifference, in that very moment, you are writing a story far greater than what the eye can see. Many begin well but do not know how to endure. They are easily swayed by applause and just as easily crushed by silence. But you, I have not called you to move to the rhythm of the crowd. I have called you to follow the heartbeat of heaven. It is a rhythm that is slow yet powerful, quiet yet unrelenting. What is built by noise will vanish with the wind, but what is built in stillness will endure forever. Let your journey be a testimony to the world that you don't have to rush to grow, don't have to be seen to be fruitful, and don't need human recognition to be confirmed by me. You are closer to the turning point than ever before. You may not yet perceive it, for the sky remains overcast, and there is no sign that light is near. But I declare to you, the appointed time has been marked. The day I have chosen is drawing near, and when it comes, the movement will be swift, so swift that you will realize all those seemingly meaningless days were actually days of preparation. I have been working in silence, aligning the pieces of your life, orchestrating all things to come together for good. People you've never met will appear. Doors you never imagined will open. Dead places will spring to life because the time I ordained has arrived. I want you to prepare, not with outward fervor, but with inward steadiness. Do not rush to do something just to soothe impatience. Stay where I've placed you. Do not open doors merely because they are within reach. Wait for the door that I open, for it will lead you where your own hands cannot. A door opened in its due season is a living testimony to the world that I, and I alone, hold time in my hands. And when you walk through that door, no one will be able to say, you found your own way. all will see that it was I, your God, who intervened. My child, breakthrough does not come to an anxious mind. It comes to a soul refined in stillness. Do not overlook the lessons of the waiting season. They are the foundation upon which you will stand when the brilliant season comes. Some lose themselves after receiving the very thing they prayed for, because their spirit was not prepared. I do not want that for you. I do not merely want to give what you've prayed for, I want to give what you can sustain. And to sustain it, you must be transformed, not just outwardly, but deep within. Remember this: glory is not in being known by the world, but in being known by me. The quiet footsteps of faithfulness echo the loudest in heaven. You do not need earthly fame to be honored in the heavenly realm. I am writing the story of your life with the ink of faithfulness, on the paper of surrender, and with the hand of a father who has never lost sight of the vision. And that story, if you endure it, will become a symphony that leads others back home. My dear one, now is the time for you to rise in a renewed spirit, not a spirit of haste, but a spirit of readiness, not impulsive action, but sensitivity to the signals from heaven. I will speak, and when I speak, you will know without a doubt that this is the appointed hour. You will no longer wonder, is this the time? For all the signs will be clear, and you will walk without hesitation, because the quiet within you will bear witness. No need for human confirmation. My peace is the strongest endorsement. So, take a deep breath. Look back on all that you've come through, and be thankful. Even the tear-soaked days were stones laid for your growth. Let gratitude be the lamp that lights your path in the season ahead. For I say to you, the season of transition is near. And when it comes, it will not look like what you imagined. It will be far greater. I will not merely restore what you lost. I will give you what you never even dared to hope for. My beloved child, the time has come. What you have faithfully held on to in seemingly invisible years is now beginning to manifest. The seeds I quietly planted in your heart no longer lie dormant. They are breaking through the hardened soil to reach the light. And this is no small event. This is an unveiling. This is a sacred shift, not just in your circumstances, but in your very being. You are no longer who you once were. Something has transformed at the root. A new level is unfolding. And I say to you, step into it without fear. Know this well. This change of season did not come by chance or luck. It is the fruit of a process shaped by my very hands wise, loving, and intentional. Every tear you shed in loneliness, every prayer you whispered in silence, every time you chose to remain faithful without seeing results, each one has been recorded in heaven's journal. And now, the voice of righteousness resounds. The time has come. Can you sense the atmosphere shifting? What once was frozen is beginning to melt. Doors that have long been silent are beginning to stir. Hearts that once rejected you are now seeking you out, not because you changed your methods, but because I moved. There were things I withheld to protect you. But now, I am making a way to position you in a new place. And there, you will not walk alone. I go before you. I walk beside you. And I will uphold every step you take. Yet understand this clearly. Entering the season of release does not mean you are exempt from battle. On the contrary, the closer you draw to your true calling, the fiercer the battle may become. But now, You are trained. You have been disciplined by silence, forged in the fire of faithfulness, and saturated with the oil of my presence. Now, when adversity comes, it no longer shakes you. You have learned to discern truth from deception. You are no longer swayed by praise or criticism. You stand firm not because you are strong, but because you are anchored to the one who never changes. O child, now is the time to act, not in your own strength, but by the power of the Holy Spirit, not with your own wisdom, but by divine guidance. Remember this, I did not call you to be impressive, but to be effective. I did not send you to prove something, but to fulfill a purpose established long ago. And you will see when you do the right thing with the right heart, heaven's backing will exceed all you can imagine. Do not seek comfort. My child, comfort often stifles growth. Do not remain in your safe zone, for that is often where faith lies dormant. I am calling you out of the boat of familiarity, to walk on water by faith. You may feel afraid, but keep your eyes on me. Just as Peter once walked the waves while his gaze was fixed on me, you too will walk, as long as your eyes stay locked on mine. It was only when he looked at the wind and waves that he began to sink. So do not take your eyes off me, the one reaching out to welcome you into deeper waters. In this season, your obedience is the key, not understanding. But se rende. There will be things I call you to do without giving explanations. There will be paths I lead you down without revealing the destination. But remember, what I require is not agreement, but submission. For the more you yield, the more you are exposed to my power, and the more you obey, the deeper you will move into the current of my will. Do not compare yourself to others. What I am doing in you cannot be measured by the standards of the world. Others may be lifted in ways that draw public attention, but you are being lifted in silence. For what I am building in you is not to dazzle the eyes of men, but to pierce the darkness with light. I did not send you to be a spectator. I sent you to be a living witness, a testimony to the world that heaven still moves, still intervenes, and still calls surrendered hearts. My child, this is the moment of response. Do not only listen to my words, walk in the light of them. Do not hold on to the promise as mere comfort. Live as if the promise is already unfolding, because it truly is. You have gone through the season of sowing. You have endured the drought. And now, the harvest is drawing near, not just in appearance, but in essence. You will see the transformation not only around you, but from within your spirit, a divine awakening that no force can hinder. My beloved child, when a heavenly door opens, it is also the moment when the forces of darkness begin to circle like a roaring lion, seeking whom they may devour. You must understand this. The moment of deliverance is also the moment of greatest vulnerability. For when you begin to taste the fruit of long seasons of perseverance, your heart may easily grow lax. Your eyes may be captivated by newfound glory, and your soul may forget the one who led you through each desert valley. That is why I say to you, in the season of glory, you need alertness even more than in the season of affliction. Do not let success make you cease your dependence on me. Do not let the applause drown out the whisper of the Holy Spirit. As you step into places of blessing, carry the spirit of a pilgrim, always ready to move, always living lightly, never putting down roots in anything earthly. For if you cling to the gifts I've given and forget me, the giver, you will fall into illusion. The blessing is not the destination. It is a tool for a greater mission. I do not give goodness merely for your enjoyment, but that you might use it as a stream poured out for life, bringing glory to my name. My child, do not lose the spirit of worship just because you have received what you once prayed for. Many have cried out to me with tears, only to stop seeking once they've reached the heights. They came with broken hearts, but now let their souls grow cold amidst the comforts I've provided. Let this not be your story. Let all I do in your life become an altar of fragrant thanksgiving. Let your achievements become a living testimony, not of your strength or talent, but of my kindness and power. This is a time that calls for sharper discernment than ever before. Not every door is opened by me. Not every invitation is from heaven. Some things appear as blessings, but are sweet traps that lead to stumbling. Some people will come not to walk beside you, but to divide. Some opportunities will arise not to glorify my name, but to pull you away from my will. Therefore, keep your heart vigilant, not out of fear, but with the wisdom that comes only through deep communion with me. I do not want you to enter a new season with a distracted mind. I want you to be awake, sensitive, and more deeply rooted in me than ever before. For in the very fulfillment of my promises, I will give you specific directions. I will put words on your lips for the hungry and thirsty. I will use your life as a signpost that God is still moving in this generation. But if your gaze is fixed on what is blooming, you may miss the daily guidance I offer. Keep your heart always in the posture of a disciple, ever learning, ever walking in the steps of the Master. My child, there is a subtle attack in times of abundance, silent pride. It doesn't shout, it whispers. I did this through my own effort, but I say to you, no fruit is born from your strength alone. If I had not intervened, if I had not protected, if I had not orchestrated the path, then no matter how hard you tried, it would yield no eternal outcome. So carry the mindset of a steward faithful with what is given, yet ever aware that you serve a king far above all kings. Vigilance does not rob you of joy, it protects your heart from wandering. You may rejoice, you may celebrate, you may praise, but do so with a clear mind. Let your praise not be anchored in favorable circumstances, but in the unchanging truth that I remain the same, whether in the wilderness or in abundance. And when you worship this way, you will not be shaken by life's shifts. You will stand firm like Mount Zion, unmoved by seasonal winds. Now, I want you to prepare for a new chapter, an increase of responsibility. The things you once prayed for are no longer just gifts, they are callings. Your influence will expand. Your words will carry weight. Your decisions will not only shape your life, but impact those I have entrusted to you. Therefore, you can no longer live aimlessly. Every small choice must be brought under divine direction. Every step must be soaked in prayer. I do not call you to rigidness, but to holiness, not by human standards, but by heaven's. My child, this is not a time for complacency. This is the time to press forward with renewed vision. Let the sacred fire continue to burn within you. Let your first love not grow cold among the blessings. Keep your spirit sensitive to every breath of the Holy Spirit. And when you live like this, each day becomes more than enjoyment. It becomes a mission. Every act becomes a vessel in a plan far greater than yourself. This is a season of flourishing, but it is also a season of testing the heart. I will not stop teaching you, shaping you, or intervening For I love you too much to let you wander. And if you guard your heart from pride and walk in surrender, what I have begun in you will continue to blossom not once, but season after season. My beloved child, if you look back over the journey I've led you through, you'll see this truth. Not one step was wasted. No pain was meaningless. No day of waiting passed in vain. Everything has been intricately woven by me to create a complete picture of a soul transformed, a life reoriented by heaven's will. A child no longer living for self, but for the glory of the one who called you out of darkness. Now, you stand at a sacred threshold, where the end is not a period but a gateway to mission. You are no longer the one who waited endlessly for answers, who stumbled in confusion, who wandered in the night. You have been changed, not just in mind, but in spirit. And this transformation, my child, is not the result of human effort, but the deep work of my grace. I have forged you through my word, tested you in fire, and drawn you into divine understanding no earthly school can teach. But now you must understand, spiritual transformation is not a trophy to be stored. It is an equipping for action. You are not made to stand still. You are sent. I have touched you not just to heal you, but to make you my healing hand to others. I have opened your eyes not just to see your path, but to become a light for souls still lost in the night. You have been transformed to be commissioned. Do not fear the journey. Do not hesitate. Do not wait to feel perfect before beginning. You will never feel completely ready, but my grace will always be enough. Your calling is not based on your feelings, but on heaven's confirmation. And I say to you, this very moment, this very place, is the time I've appointed to begin something new. Do not look back and waver. Do not look inward and despair. Look to me, the author and finisher of your faith. And believe this, if I have walked with you thus far, I will not let go in the steps to come. Oh, my child, the world is desperate for a living word, for true light, for someone who lives faith as breath, not just as theory. The world needs the broken, so they can enter broken places with real compassion. The world needs the once wandering, so they know how to guide others home. And I have chosen you for this work not because you are skilled, but because you are surrendered, not because you are strong, but because you are willing. So go with a tender heart and a steadfast spirit. Go not to make a name for yourself, but to carry my presence. Go not to prove anything, but to fulfill an eternal purpose. You don't need to know all the next steps. You only need to know my voice. And my voice will lead you through every desert, every sea, every field awaiting the harvest. For I, who spoke the first word, will be the one to guide you to the very end. Engrave this on your heart. Every step in me carries eternal weight. When you intercede for a soul, heaven records it. When you comfort the fallen, I take notice. When you stand firm in righteousness amid a crooked generation, I am glorified. No moment in me is ever wasted. Every act of obedience, no matter how small, causes ripples in the invisible sea, and those waves will reach shores you have never seen. My child, you are not ordinary. You are one who has been touched. You carry the imprint of my presence. You have stepped out of your old self and now bear the title of the chosen. So do not live as ordinary. Do not dream small dreams. Do not settle for safety. Live with the unshakable conviction that your life was crafted to reveal the full glory of God, not in part, but in whole. not for a moment, but for a lifetime. And finally, I leave you with this: live as though the world needs you, not because you are the center, but because I, who live within you, am the answer to that world. When you walk, my light walks with you. When you speak, life is released. When you act, darkness is pushed back. Therefore, never underestimate a single day, a single action, or a single prayer. In me, even your most hidden offering echoes through eternity. My beloved child, I say to you once more, now is the time to rise. You are no longer one bound by the past. You are no longer one waiting for a miracle. You are the miracle I have prepared for this world. Embrace that calling with joy, with faith, and with gratitude, for I, the living God, will walk with you to the very end of the road. Thank you for listening to today's message. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so we can continue receiving the words of life together, building a firm foundation of faith, and walking in the boundless love of the Lord. Amen.